In a night where the air is thick with mystery and the shadows whisper secrets untold, anything can happen. These are not just ghost stories or urban legends. Tonight, you'll hear 5 spine-chilling Halloween night stories that have left people haunted for years. Imagine being at a party, surrounded by friends, but there's one guest no one seems to know, or offering a ride to a stranger, only to realize they might not have been alive in the first place. Turn off the lights, close your doors, and get ready to feel the presence of the unknown. Story 1. The Man in the Mask. It was the night of Halloween, and the small town was alive with costumes, laughter, and eerie excitement. A Halloween party was in full swing, and everyone admired the man in the eerie mask. His costume, a pale face with hollow, dark eyes, was so unnervingly realistic that it gave people chills. But something was off. No one knew who he was. As guests tried to strike up conversations, he remained silent, just standing there, watching. It wasn't until the host, feeling a creeping sense of dread, decided to unmask him. But before anyone could stop him, the man vanished into thin air. The next day, a haunting revelation came to light. News of a missing man from the year before, last seen wearing the same mask at the very same Halloween party. Story 2. The Phantom Hitchhiker. On Halloween night, a couple was driving home after a party. The road was dark and empty, the only light coming from their car's headlights. As they drove down a lonely road, they saw her, a young woman standing alone, hitchhiking. Feeling sorry for her, they stopped and offered her a ride. She silently slipped into the back seat, her face hidden in the shadows. But something felt wrong. She never spoke, just stared out the window. When they arrived at her destination, they turned to tell her they had arrived, but the back seat was empty. Panicked and confused, they later learned that a woman had died in a car accident on that very road 10 years ago, on Halloween night. Story 3. The Caller from the Past. It was Halloween night when a young woman received a call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end was faint, but strangely familiar. It kept pleading, "Help me, I'm trapped. Please find me." Disturbed, she tried to trace the call, but found nothing. The next morning, she mentioned it to her parents, and their faces turned pale. The voice, they said, sounded like her older brother, the brother who had disappeared 10 years ago on Halloween. That same day, her phone rang again, and this time, all she heard was a chilling whisper, "I'm still here." Story 4. The Ghostly Trick-or-Treater. Halloween night was in full swing, and a couple was excited to hand out candy. One little boy, dressed in a tattered costume, kept coming back for more. His visits became more frequent, and each time, his costume appeared dirtier. Curious, they asked the boy where his parents were, but he ran off before they could get an answer. The next day, they asked around the neighborhood, but no one knew of any boy matching that description. They later discovered that years ago, a boy had gone missing while trick-or-treating wearing that very costume. Story 5. The Shadow in the Attic. Voiceover. On Halloween night, a young couple moved into an old, creaky house they had just bought for a surprisingly low price. The previous owner had sold it quickly, claiming he didn't want to stay another night, brushing it off as superstition. The couple was excited to start fresh, but they couldn't shake the eerie feeling the house gave them, especially the attic. While unpacking, they found a hidden door in the ceiling of one of the rooms. It led to a dusty, dark attic that neither of them had known about. Inside, there were old, forgotten belongings, furniture covered in sheets, cracked mirrors, and strange boxes. One box, in particular, caught the woman's attention. It was a small, weathered chest, locked with an antique keyhole. That evening, as trick-or-treaters came and went, the couple sat down to relax, but strange things began happening. First, they heard a thud from above, dismissing it as an old house settling. They went about their night, but then came the soft creaking of footsteps, pacing back and forth directly over their heads. The woman looked at her husband uneasily. "Did you hear that?" she asked. They both went upstairs and checked the attic, but nothing seemed out of place. The chest was still locked, and there was no sign of anything unusual. Feeling foolish, they returned to the living room, But the footsteps resumed, this time louder, accompanied by what sounded like faint whispers. Determined to get to the bottom of it, the husband grabbed a flashlight and insisted they open the chest. After searching the house, they finally found a key hidden in the old wardrobe. With a deep breath, they unlocked the chest. Inside were a few old photographs and a small book, its pages yellowed with age. As they flipped through the book, the woman realized it was a diary. The last entry, dated on Halloween night nearly 50 years ago, was written by a man who had lived in the house. It detailed how he had been haunted by a shadow, a dark, looming figure that appeared every Halloween night. The shadow would pace the attic, growing more restless each year, until the man finally sealed it away in the chest. The final line in the diary read, "It will return if the chest is opened." Suddenly, the attic door slammed shut on its own. The lights flickered, and the air grew impossibly cold. The couple stood frozen as the unmistakable sound of slow, deliberate footsteps descended from the attic, this time not stopping at the ceiling. The shadows in the room deepened, stretching unnaturally as the whispering grew louder. They never saw what was moving toward them, but they felt it, a dark, chilling presence surrounding them. The couple fled the house that night and never returned. The next owners found the chest locked tightly in the attic, and no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't find the key. Halloween is a night when the veil between the living and the dead thins, but sometimes what crosses over doesn't return. Have you ever experienced something unexplainable on Halloween? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed these real Halloween night stories, make sure to subscribe to Darkside Mysteries, where the shadows hide and the mysteries linger. As you settle into your own Halloween night, remember to keep your lights on and your doors locked. You never know who or what might be watching. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and always be aware of the shadows.